welcome to another episode of Nadi Digital Economy Malaysia. Today's episode will be free of any mention of DNB, okay? So just so you...
You just mentioned.
Oh, it did? Yeah, but we will we will not be
Not it's in people's
it.
minds already.
We will be talking about it, although we could actually talk about quite a few things, but let me get my commentary out there first, and then next week we can talk about it again. But now, let's start off. We're going to try to do at least 5 stories. And the big news, I guess, was actually not from out of Malaysia, but in Singapore, UOB Bank, Price Waterhouse, and Singapore Fintech Association did a joint study. And they found that fintech funding for for the first 9 months of this year has already more than triple what was raised last year, which is quite amazing. And you go to the article on DNA, and there's a lot of data points there, and you can also link to the report, and you can download the report, right? Very well done. Lots of infographics there, so you don't get caught up in too much text, right? So want to congratulate them for doing a very good report. What's interesting is that there were 170 almost deals, right, done, but the majority of them were from 13 mega rounds, and this accounted for 2 billion. Right, of the 3.5 billion. And they said that what this shows is that there's interest in late stage, right, fintech firm, but it also means that investors are now shifting their strategy. They're becoming more cautious, because the earlier in a company that you go and take a bet on them, the riskier the bet is. But now they're being a bit more risk averse, and they're trying to play safe. The good thing is that money is going to fintechs. They're still disrupting disruptors, right? They've got more ammo now, so it makes the competition between fintechs and the traditional banks and insurtechs, also insurance companies, very interesting now, because fintechs are much better funded. They are obviously a lot more nimble and aggressive and hungry and better using technology. With the fintech leader in Singapore, says that one reason now, not entrepreneurs, but they said the market, right? Consumers are also embracing, and also companies, right, are embracing fintech. And because of this now, you're reshaping the market, so there's more opportunity to come and serve. These people are receptive to fintech also. And you've got, he said you've got obviously digital payments. A lot of money has gone into digital payments, your wallets and whatnot under the fintech space. Cryptocurrency is there, but not so big, but the base was lower. So you've got cryptocurrency, you've got also like lending also, right? You've got like your P2P lending, there you go, right? Money has gone in there also. Now he says it's not about whether fintech is going to transform the business landscape, but it's about how best now are you going to adopt and embed a fintech centered strategy. And I know that even up to like last year, I was saying that I strongly feel that the banks are going to win out in the fintech space, because they've already started embracing fintech. And at the most, they're going to acquire the fintech players who've shown the best traction. But maybe some of the big fintech, Grab now is also playing with fintech. Grab wants to become the Alibaba of Southeast Asia, right? And have its own Alipay. You've got Grab playing there. You've got Gojek playing in fintech. So you've got companies which are not going and knocking on the door of the bank, established players, to say, hey, give me a few 100 million ringgit and you can take over my fintech and it can be part of your multi-billion-dollar business. They want to bring your multi-dollar billion-dollar business down to hundreds of millions, right, by taking away your customers. So the competitive landscape has ratcheted up a bit, and it's going to be ratcheted up even more as maybe more money probably goes into the fintech space also. So makes for a very exciting environment in this space, and we'll see what more happens, right? Dzof, you know anything to this before we go on? Because so many data points that I want the readers to just go and check the article. It'll be totally worth your while. Okay, go ahead, Dzof. Sorry.
I think there are 2 things. One is I sort of agree. I mean, I can see that the banks are going to, because these fintech players have gotten larger and more respectable, right? Yeah. I see the banks then looking at either acquisitions or mergers or partnerships or whatever you want to call it, these win-win scenarios, right? I think the established banks aren't just going to sit there and watch these other guys overtake them. No, no way, right?
They've not been sitting back anyway. But I think this, when you see data points like this, I'm sure there were some meetings held already with all the banks, right? Their digital teams to say that, hey, whatever it is you think you're doing, you got to do more of it because it's not enough. Because the competition, the level, the competitive pressure has just been ratcheted up by a multitudes of a few degrees, I guess.
And I think the second thing, Karam, is that I think you buried the lead a little bit, to be honest, because the thing that jumped out to me was that in 2020, Malaysia took 7% of that funding that was available for all of ASEAN, right? And then now, up to the September of this year, they've only taken 3%. It's like okay, the absolute amount has increased, but the share of the pie has gone down. So I think the question is, why are Malaysian fintechs not as attractive to investors? Is the question.
Probably,
a year ago.
Probably because remember, a lot of the money is going to the more mature, right, later stage, and we don't have fintechs in that space yet. I think our fintechs are now still in the Series A, trying to make the leap to Series B, whereas in Singapore, you've already got Series C going on to Series D also, so you can attract the bigger sums. And also it's distorted by the fact that Gojek and Grab are based in Singapore, Indonesia, right? And they're already so big, so they've each like raised, I think one has raised 500 million US and one more has raised, I don't know how much. So that distorts the number. So, Malaysia is playing catch up, and I'm hoping that, maybe 2 years from now, when and I'm sure this report will be a yearly report, you'll probably see the numbers, change. But I'm not disheartened. But like I said, right, whereas the banks are having meetings and saying, hey, we got to do a lot more now. Obviously, in Malaysia, the entrepreneurs are doing as much as they can, but the supporting ecosystem, like government, private VCs, and maybe even corporate players, banks, hey, going closer, hey, let's work closely together. So, and I know there is a funding story coming up that we can talk about how, there's a lot more money coming into the space also, but maybe we'll go on to the next story first, and you talk about the government doing its part in the right way, right? Through setting up, what is this called?
Well, this was a piece that appeared. It was a very short piece. It was said that the government will set up something called the State Digital Economic and Fourth Industrial Revolution Policy, open brackets 4IR, close brackets Council, which is both a mouthful and also a title that's sort of designed to make you go to sleep, I think, when you see that as a title of a committee or a council.
I know, and it's definitely making me thirsty, so you carry on while I take a sip. By the way, this show is not sponsored by Pocari Sweat, just to clear the air.
Normally, Pocari Sweat is by athletes and pop stars, Karam. So I think neither of us are either of those.
Athlete, okay. Wannabe athlete.
But what caught my attention was that first, it was basically Datuk Sri Mustapa Mohamed is basically will chair the first council meeting.
Okay.
And when you look, to me, if you look between the lines, and this is what he said, right? He said that this council will ensure that the quality of digital connectivity and access to the internet is at the best level for the benefit of the people.
Interesting.
Now, as I read this, I felt that you need to put a bit of context in this.
Yes.
And the context goes back to late last year, when the CEO of Time.com, Afzal Abdul Rahim, stood up on stage. And I'm going to quote him, right? I'm going to quote him here. He said, "There are things that telcos can do better, but the single biggest hindrance to the rollout of network infrastructure in Malaysia is the local authorities and their behavior." So he specifically called out state governments for basically interfering in the rollout by fundamentally asking for under-the-table donations.
Actually, it
extra
also
business on the side.
It is under table, but it's also remember he says that after the MCMC, the communication, right, the regulator leaves the room. He said the CEOs will get calls from the kuncu, which is a Malay slang word which means opportunities around the Menteri Besar or around Menteri Besar Incorporated, the office, right? Who say that, hey man, you guys are going to make, everybody believes that telcos are making so much money, right? Hey, you are going to make so much money, right? from this, surely we can get a cut also. And because a lot
surely
of
you need a caterer or catering business to help feed your workers or something.
No,
like that,
not
right?
even that, Zof. I think what they mean is because a lot of states have got a state-backed infrastructure company also, and they say that you must go to that company to get your license for your permission, and the state company will charge you 10 towers, so much, right? And that is the play of the lay of the land since like 2005 or 6 onwards. This is not something new. But Afzal is ratcheting up the pressure, saying that, look, you want 5G, you want 4G to be like 92% of populated areas. Help us get rid of this hindrance so that we can run. Because right now, he said we are maybe doing just a fast walk. So that is the reason for this council. And remember, it's with all the state executive councils, right, from all the states with the digital portfolio. It is not at the federal level. So this is the government finally listening, and Mustapa, being the dynamic guy, he is saying that I will now put my shoe down, right, and put my shoe on the throat. Of course, he'll never say it that way, of these jokers who are holding back a national agenda. So good on him. And this is going to be a weekly meeting. A monthly meeting. So let's see some state-backed companies get uncomfortable, right, with this. So shall we move on to the next?
I was just going to say, nowhere in the article does it paint Tokpa as some sort of aggressive enforcer.
I'm hoping he will be, but the very fact that it's going to be a monthly meeting, in his gentle way, I think that is already ratcheting up the pressure, because there's never been a monthly meeting with a federal level minister, right, saying, hey, okay, I want to hear what's the issues there. So this is totally new. Okay, let's move on to the next story. The third story is about $25 million landing in Malaysia. And this
free
is
money.
No, not free money. I mean, if you get look, VC money is the most expensive kind of capital, okay, you're raising. So it's not free money. Nobody listening to the show ever think that we gave you the impression that VC money is easy money, or it's free money, or it's light money. It's not, right? It comes with heavy shackles around your ankle, right? And maybe something around your neck also, because it is the most expensive, but it's also amazingly happens to be the sexiest. But this is the case where an Indonesian fund, and one of the best venture capital funds in Indonesia, called Kejora Capital, it is launched a US 25 million, 105 million ringgit fund in Malaysia, and the lead investor is actually Mavcap, is the anchor investor. So credit to Mavcap also, although the story doesn't mention Mavcap much. And also then a Malaysian conglomerate, Sunway. So credit to Sunway also, which is one of the largest conglomerates in Malaysia. So the three of them have come together to launch this fund, and it's going to be focusing on fintech. We mentioned fintech earlier, right? Agri-tech, e-commerce, education tech, and health tech. So it's good that they're focusing on certain sectors. Entrepreneurs out there, please go and read about this, right? And understand which verticals they want to put money into. Don't go and say, I'm in nanotech, I want to get money from you, or I'm in high performance computing. Don't look at the spaces where the money has been targeted and go and approach them if you have if your business is in that space. And look, Kejora, Indonesia, there's so much potential still. By 2040, it's going to be one of the world's 5 largest economies. And yet a fund there is not getting all starry-eyed about the potential in their market, saying that, hey, I want to look in Malaysia. So I think there's a lot of amazing things going on here, amazing entrepreneurs. So therefore, they've come and put their money down also and partner with, like I said, 2 other players to launch this fund. And, 104 million ringgit is a lot of money. They're going to play up to the Series A level. So it's not going to be at the B or C, but even then also that's good already. It gives you extra.
Yeah, but you get your foot in the door, right?
What?
You get your foot in the door, right?
Yeah.
So there's an opportunity.
Exactly.
I think the opportunity runs both ways as well, because Kejora, this is the first, this thing about this Jakarta Express, right? This idea that you're opening up potential for markets in Indonesia as well. And Indonesia, I feel, is one of the toughest markets to break into.
Wow.
And I feel this is from when I listen to people talk about trying to get into Indonesia from outside.
Okay.
So I think there's a lot of good news there. Shall we move on to the next story?
Yeah, next story. An incredible comment that got me super pissed, but Dzof, I'll let you start with this before I rant.
Well, this was a statement by the Director General of the Public Service Department of Malaysia, Tan Sri Muhammad Khairul Adib Abdul Rahman, who had said, the digitalization of public service does not mean that the size of the public service will have to be reduced, because the work behind the scenes of online services still requires physical presence of civil servants. Karam is so excited about this. There's nothing that breaks his heart more than to see civil servants, out of a job, right?
See sheer ignorance, total detachment from reality. Look, as far back as 2009, we had the most bloated civil service in Asia Pacific, okay? I'm going to hold my mic out and repeat it, okay? In 2009, Bolehland had the most bloated civil service in Asia Pacific. It was not enough to be the most bloated in Asia. We added the Pacific Ocean also. And now here you have this champion saying that our ratio is 1 to 20. We've got a bit more wriggle room to be more efficient, add more people in. I'm saying that this is, people talk about the Islamization of Malaysia as being a danger to the competitiveness of this country. I'm saying that the bloated nature of our civil service and the amount of development fund that is going towards paying emoluments. What is it called? Dzof? Emoluments.
Yeah.
That's the term, right? It basically means pensions, right? And salaries. It's incredible, right?
And houses.
And yeah, exactly. So that is insane for him to say that. It is. I'm really super pissed. It's like 10, almost. It's 11:44 p.m. now. We're doing this on a Friday night, and it's got my blood boiling to hear this kind of dangerous and totally ignorant statements, because digitization makes your work smoother, more productive, and along with digitization, you upskill your staff, okay? And people can do more things. And when people can do more things, right, when people are retiring, you do not need to then, so we've got 50,000 people retiring this year, we need to add 50,000. No. Even if you don't reduce people, the retirement will be a natural, a culling of the civil service. So, and obviously we need to privatize some manner of the civil service also, but I'm telling you, this is the biggest danger to this country, right? The size of the civil service and the amount of money we're paying to not just civil service, but to pensions also. Good God, man, this guy is good. This is the third time I'm saying he's detached from reality. Just go ahead. Our brothers in Indonesia, the ratio is 1 to 110 civil service, right, to the population. Korea is 50, China is like 1 to 108. So which brilliant report that he managed to get to show him that 1 to 20 is the gold standard, man? Absolutely not.
I mean, in defense of the
not say anymore. Sorry, I better not say anymore in case I do the next show behind bars next week, which I'll be happy to do as long as they give me Wi-Fi, right? Broadband.
Don't say things like that. You'll be cutting. But just to in the defense of the government, I would say that first, the way different countries count their civil service is slightly different. And Malaysia's includes, and I looked up the number, 300,000 teachers, which not every government counts teachers.
I didn't know that. So, wait, I thought we had 500,000 civil teachers. No, is it 300,000 teachers and the rest are like support staff, but they're considered as teaching staff?
I was looking at the data for primary school teachers and secondary school teachers, so I suppose it doesn't include support staff. I guess it doesn't include. But that's like 20% of 1.6, 1.7 million, right? So you have to bear that in mind. But having said that, I think it's sort of what worries me more is that you're talking about digitalization and going digital, and then you're talking about the number of staff you need or you can support, when actually the two should not be in the same conversation, actually, I feel.
But again,
like you said, it's about upskilling.
We're down to 1.3. I mean, I want to have a debate, man, with our friend Tan Sri Khairul Adib. Let us have a debate. I only got for a grade 3 in my SPM, Tan Sri. I would love to debate you, okay, on you thinking that the size of the civil service is 1 to 20. You can produce a world-class civil service. Astounding. Okay. I'm going to probably jump into the bathtub, and have my kids go to 7-Eleven and get loads of ice and drop it into the bathtub so I can cool myself down. What an insane statement to make, man, and dangerous statement to make. Anyway,
I'm almost sorry I
I
suggested
will let
this
you have the
story.
last word before we end the show, because we already passed 20 minutes, and I do not want to edit what I've said. Okay, I will not edit it.
So the last story is just a very quick line.
Okay, quick line.
This was another announcement by Tokpa. He said that the government will unveil MSC 2.0 with new branding and further improvements to address the digital divide, meet current challenges and constraints, and enhance Malaysia's value proposition. Now, this is a thing that's a little bit close to my heart, only because I worked on the first MSC, which I didn't realize was MSC 1.0, but I guess it must have been. And my reaction to this is like, I don't get it. I don't get why the effort to rebrand MSC to call it 2.0, because MSC has been something that's been in a state of flux anyway over the last 25 years, 23 years.
No, but I know that when Pakatan Harapan came in 2018, somebody was given the mandate to actually work on MSC 2.0. So this MSC 2.0 has definitely been around since at least 2018. And a consultant told me that even MTech was had meetings surrounding in 2019. So this is not new. But obviously, you know, I feel like Dzof, every administration, but the MSC has been accepted. People know it has created a lot of value for Malaysia. So you just want to say that you are the leadership, you are the great leader who has now created MSC 2.0, and will definitely do more for you, the rakyat, do more for you entrepreneurs, do more for you brick and mortar companies out there to make Malaysia more competitive and a more dynamic nation. And maybe on that note, I let you have the last say, and then we end the show.
Well, I just to say that, I mean, it's been a very trying year so far, and I think 2022 represents an opportunity to really accelerate. But in order to accelerate, you have to get everything lined up correctly, right, Karam? So I guess the question is, are we doing things now that are lining the right things up correctly, so that when we hit the go button in 2022, it will be full speed ahead? That's all. Okay.
To be seen, but keep following this show and you'll find out, because we aim to give you a sense, to have our finger on the pulse of Malaysia's digital economy. With that, we'll see you again next week.